growing in velvet.
I gotta have a picture. Where's my girl?
Stuck on here.
Yeah, she got
What you get?
None.
That's what I got, yeah. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm just right there.
And a beautiful rack.
You don't lose anything. I mean, you lose some of the.
That's the way they get up there. Let me hold yours. It's all right. I got it all.
Okay, if you guys just hold on to your lifesavers there and just hold on to them, I'll tell you what we're going to do with them in a little bit. So don't eat them yet.
That's not what he's-
You do? Yeah, we just drive right off.
Don't straddle the cars.
And then we're not chained down, but we could be they. They don't even have a guardrail. Not that that guardrail would do much on a 18,000-pound motor coach.
Will not come up into this area because of the content of silt in the water, which messes up their sonar, and also the ice really does tear. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to remind you about one of our safety rules. Please, at no time during the trip.
There's a cabin.
Oh, that's like a picture that I'll look at. Or I'll go out on the deck and take a picture. That's what I
It's trying to guess how close are they going to let you get before they go away.
Right.
Oh, that one over there? That's how fast we're going, I guess.
Did you see that baby go out?
They just slide. Yeah, I'd like you to get the otter Lying on their back. Get a pretty good idea.
Downtown Whittier.
Don't want that to happen. Just a little, maybe jingle bells or twinkle, twinkle, little star. Colors skinnier, more scraggly looking than their counterparts, the white spruce, which we'll be seeing later today. The reason they're so small here is because of the water in there. This is a fairly swampy area. That's mine. And I'd like to thank all of you. Actually,
I had two for sure, and I wanted that one, but I didn't want to tell you. I had no.
Gulch Bridge was completed in 1921. They built it from, is looking up Hurricane Canyon. On our 9 o'clock side, you're looking in Hurricane Creek as it enters into the Cholitna River. As its name implies,
If I hold them all in my hand,
Was I in your way? You have to.
If she was my mother, he would have told me that.
Tried to tell him.
When?
I heard him urge you to get along with
Because it's also being ran a lot of the time in the dark because during February we're still not getting much daylight. My father has also won countless shorter races. Shorter races are called mid-distance races and they're anywhere to hang on to. This is a brake. You slow them down with this when you're going down a hill or just need to pace them and you need to slow them down when you first take off. These are called snowshoes. I'm sure many of you have seen a snowshoe before. We're required to take these in a race in case you get out in a storm or a blizzard and you can't find your way and there's much of a trail left, then you can break trail in front of your lead dogs. Like burning alcohol. We're also required, of course, to carry one of these. We melt snow in the dog food cooker. Hold that up. We also, your back, like this, so that you don't have to worry about dropping them. Or if you're too hot on the back of your sled, you can just tie them around yourself. They're made out of beaver fur on the outside, mouton from a sheep on the inside, and leather on the outside.
That's why I go like this. Yeah. That's why you're low and reload. I don't know how it'll work out.
Stevie!
Up the land, this little strip. Now, we're in the bend in the river right here, and so this airstrip can't get any longer. You can't afford to undershoot this runway. Heading way back, he's probably flying under 50 miles an hour, right over those wells. You may even see them blow a little bit in his prop wash right there, and then down very nicely, and cutting back on the power, flaring a little bit, and touching down just as nice as you can please. Beautifully done. He'll do a little pirouette right here. This is the runway for you. Give you a little bit of weight. Bill Johnson, thank you very much, sir. captain, his wife out there, wave us on.
This is the old Discovery one.
You know, it was just 6 weeks ago that they celebrated. Indian Village, so look forward to that. Also, way up on the Alaska deck, this is Kim, and Kim is an Inupiat Eskimo pilot. She has two, Michael and Ian, also with these guys here at Fort Dayton. Freezer all winter long.
Can get some water. I'll be right up. Happy birthday.
The president was coming to town, suggested that the senator and his family move over, harvested about 15 miles from Fairbanks, skidded it into this site, hand peeled with a draw knife, and then hand-shaped cut and fit, each to fit one upon the next, much as a stone cutter might shape stone. Now, every one of those logs is about 21 inches diameter at the base, about 57 feet long. Very carefully fit them up and then let the house sit for an The beaver is the largest rodent in North America. You see a view of it there on your television monitor. The cameraman's got it on the bridge up there. Right behind that gold blue tire monitor. Boy, that was pretty exciting. Oh, you can build a dam. The ice takes it out every year. It becomes a waste. Dang beaver.
Kind of start them on what would, I guess, be termed as their first training as a sled dog. We like to take them on daily walks in the woods. We have a trail cut just for that purpose. We go up to 7 miles, but of course in the beginning we go much shorter. Them on the other side. And most importantly, if when they're young it's too much for them, we're there to lift them over it. This way they can start to get a sense that we'll be there for them at every stage in their life. And that's most important when they start running in harness for us and racing, that they can understand that we will never ask them. They look like a small adult team of dogs. And we actually have a saying here at the kennel that it only takes us 2 minutes to teach them to go, but about 2 years. Even at this young age, we're certainly learning a lot about each dog's personality, and when we start racing them in harness, or running them in harness, we can see a lot about their athletic ability, but we've learned that the most important thing to making a good sled dog is their desire and their heart, and you really can't see that right away. And so we like to be very patient with them, and I can tell you a story that started 18 years ago here at Race. And Granite ended up leading me to victory in the night. So he certainly shows where patience pays off, but his story goes on from there because while we were training for the 1988 racing season, he became very seriously ill. And I had...
Not bad story, huh, folks? Well, of course, Granite was one of the greats, probably the all-time greatest sled dog that ever lived. We have a big empty part in our lives because he's no longer with us. Died at the age of 17 and a half this last winter, but a champion of the Yukon Quest and a veteran of the Iditarod, Dave Munson. So we'll look forward to that. The dogs will be in harness, and they'll come right out from the boat, do a little bit of dog, finished up the house in September, and then spend the winter probably finishing up the inside. Last.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Now,
wow.
keep in mind, reindeer are domestic and caribou are wild. And the ancestors of these creatures actually came from Lapland in northern Europe about 100 years ago. Take a look at their antlers. This is kind of interesting natural adaptation for the place in the world where they live. You see that part of the antler structure comes right down between their eyes to the end of their nose. Now that is called the shovel, and they actually use that to move snow on it the way as they're eating it. So very handy environmental adaptation. Now both the males and the females have antlers. They do shed them every close to the water and nice and cool and don't break around before process. Thank you. We have a permit with the state of Alaska that says it's okay to run that fish wheel no matter what without concern for the season as long as you don't keep the salmon cat. So
The village of Fort Yukon, very similar to this, although I think our camp up there is just a little bit bigger than this, especially our smokehouse like the one over here. Very comfortable to stay in those all summer, and sometimes if it got chilly, we just build a fire in the wall tent. But it's real nice to spend a whole summer outside, especially after being indoors most of the winter. And the only reason we have a big camp is because I have big brothers, big sisters, and my grandparents always come to fish camp with us.
Well, that sounds like a lot of family and, of course, a lot of shared values going on there, Dixie. Is that where you learned how to do your beadwork?
Oh yes, this is an excellent opportunity. Really hits a good spot next to the cut bank where the salmon would run pretty strong, and sometimes he would even have to turn off. This is the chum salmon. We also nicknamed this guy the dog salmon. Only reason we call the chums the dog salmon is because they run twice in one season. Therefore, we can catch a lot more of the chum salmon, more so than the kings and the silvers. So it makes sense for us to use this for the dogs. I've seen the chum salmon get up to 18 to 22 pounds. This one here is a good-sized salmon. I'd say at least 12 to 13 pounds at the most.
Then she'll turn it up on its front there, and she'll take off the head, split and dry that. That's a good source of calcium and protein for the dogs. The viscera is set aside and cooked up into a kind of a mulligan stew for the dogs out at fish camp for the summer, and the backbone is dried and used as dog food in the winter. Then she scores the meat diagonally, as you see right there, just cutting right down through the meat to the skin. The meat will hang freely away from the skin and get lots of surface area. It'll dry thoroughly, and with smoke as a natural preservative, that will keep for up to 2 years without any additional treatment.
So we always work together as a team, and our sled dogs have always become a part of my family. And this relationship is their friendly characters and that natural desire to run, which you saw them demonstrating earlier. And physically, we make sure that they're going to be born as healthy as can be with no inheritable problem. She usually wonders a little why I put this on in the middle of summer, but she's always happy to try out for her modeling career. In the wintertime, she'd be wearing her pulling harness, and this is the business end, which is still available, so she could be proudly leading a team down the trail in almost any kind of adverse weather while being protected by our little blue blanket. So there she goes. She gets to show off the little orange Nike.
Missionaries, traders, and trappers, and these new people and their ways brought many changes to the Athabascan way of life. Now villages spring up that look just like the one you see here. Binkley Steamboat provides a natural barrier to the rain. Now we did have to replace it about every 5 to 7 years because it does rot. And no, for those of you who are wondering, I've never been asked to mow it before. Now there are two modes of transportation, by steamboat in the summer and by dog team in the winter. Now
like the cabin, this structure is also made from spruce poles and it has a bark roof. This is simply a storage shed that's built on stilts in order to keep the contents away from the damp ground and also away from animals. Now you might notice the tin cans at the tops of the poles. Those are placed there in order to keep smaller animals like squirrels from climbing up the poles and getting inside the cache. To keep out larger animals, what they would do is they would simply remove this ladder and place it flat against the ground. Timberwool. And what the Athabascan Indians would do with these pelts is they would cut lateral strips across the back, and they'd use those strips as the outer part of their parka ruffs, and you'll see a parka at one of our next stops. The wolverine is a very clever and ferocious animal. Only the best and luckiest Athabascans came home with this prize. To give you an idea of how ferocious this animal is, I've been told that if a black bear and a wolverine were to meet on a trail, the black bear wouldn't hesitate and he'd step aside and let the wolverine pass. This is a silver fox and this is a red fox. They're both of the same genus and species, so it's not uncommon to find both colors in a litter. And they're very abundant here in the interior. They would bring the caribou hides with them because they were far too valuable to leave behind. And that's called a double lean-to, and that structure is made from spruce boughs, and you'll notice that there's a dark resin along the sides of the boat, and that dark resin is a mixture of spruce pitch, animal fat, and moose or caribou hair. Those three ingredients were all mixed together, boiled, and pasted over the seams of the boat to make it watertight. In fact, if Kim and I were to carry this canoe down to the Tanana River right now, it could easily hold 10 of you. This process of rotating hot rocks from a fire into the basket until the water finally came to a boil.
Now before the Athabascan people had contact with Western civilization, they were game hunters, and these animals provided them with nearly everything they needed to survive: food, clothing, shelter, tools, and weapons. Nothing was wasted. The hunter would try to imitate. Now, I don't get out and hunt very often, but I could demonstrate the call if you'd like me to.
Yeah.
Okay, watch out for the moose. Here, boosty, boosty.
That if they sewed animal tracks onto their husband's clothing, this would bring him good luck when he went out to hunt. So here on the back we have the flowers that represent the paws of the lynx, the wolf, and the rabbit. And the little white lines connecting the flowers together symbolize ptarmigan dancing in the snow, except for the zipper. Traditionally, these parkas were a one piece that you would pull over your head. This parka here is 40 years old and it's made by a woman from the Hooper Bay area. The body of this parka is made from ground squirrel. The bottom is trimmed with land otters, seed beads, and calfskin. You'll notice that there are wolverine tassels hanging all around the parka. These wolverine tassels were sewn on by the women to show that their husbands were great hunters. And ruff, the outer part of the parka ruff is made from timberwolf fur. The inner part is made from wolverine. And wolverine has a natural oil in its fur that prevented your breath from freezing on it. That's why it was used closest to the face.
I was like, you got it well.
On the other side too.
You're right. Okay, we'll just stay. Yeah, I'm not. All right. That would keep me right now. Right now. I'm telling everybody.
If the ground shifted, it could move. And you're more than welcome to go up here and touch this. The pad that it sits on underneath there, the bumpers around the pipe line support it. That is because if you were here every day, you came and watched it, you could notice that the pipeline has moved. You know, you can't see it watching right now, but over time you could see it moving. Ground. It's not until it comes up to a level spot. If you turn this way, you'll see some fins.
What forced that pig through the pipe?
The oil itself. When the oil, when they put the pig in, it's the oil.
I'll take a picture of you guys.
at our cook shack, and then this afternoon we have some very double cup of fresh cookies for everybody. I'll show you how smart he was. I came the last week of November with my golf clubs. See, Mac Davis first, then Bobby Vincent, and then he loaned me the Budweiser.
I got me a group, I'll tell you.
Creek running through our property here. And this is how it all starts. They split square. And they dig all the way through all this material down to the bedrock. Now if you look back there, you'll see what I'm talking about, how the bedrock can be from ground level. See the heat there? We're down to depths of 180 feet. Sweet brothers were here right around the... And you may notice too, we have a couple real old miners working. Did you see that? They get older every year, I promise. Now what they do is they have little steps that go down to the bottom there. They fill up that bucket, heaving it up, and they both work it together. Then we get moss and logs, cover up that shaft to keep it cool for that.
Down below is the bedrock. It forms a line that goes up this way and starts to head back down over there. Can everyone see that line? For those of you in the back, it's a little more visible on this face over here, and I'll point that out as well. You can see how that bedrock starts down here and moves up this way. Now this is all bedrock that's been broken up. It's been moved around and heaved and buckled.
Now the stream will catch large rocks, and every now and then, if he gets lucky, he'll get a good sized piece of gold. Underneath, inside on the bottom, are wood riffles. Actually, they look like ribs. There's 4 of them there. They'll trap the rest of the material, so you can see we have a separation process started already. He's going to take the gold pan, take some material from the wood riffle area, and pan it for us right there in the creek.
Well, as I was saying, at the bottom of these shafts, they have one of those loaded ore cars, like the one the guys were pushing, to keep them fuel, and that's how they got their nickname, the Dragon, because they eat so much wood, breathe fire, and spit smoke everywhere. But what the Dragon would do, of course, is boil the water, which would produce steam, which would be sent down along these black lines here. Some of them going down into the tunnel, others would go to thaw out those piles, and some would go to power the steam engines, like the one Andrew's working for us today. Now those were called the steam donkeys. Their name is indicative of their almost stubborn and often untimely breakdowns. However, they...
I'll get out here before I can circle.
All over them.
We're all anxious to see what we got in our test rifle. You guys go ahead and get started. I'll check out. But we're going to give you guys a little treat on how exactly to use the gold pan. Same time, we'll see what we got. When we leave here through the tunnel on my left, we'll give each of you that want a bag. We call it a poke sack of the concentrate that we've already shoveled up out of the sluice. Once in the panning area, pick out a spot by any empty gold pan. Dump the whole bag of concentrate in the pan. And if you would, just throw that empty poke sack right down on the ground. Just try to keep those bags dry. Once the bag's underground, dirt in the pan, fill that pan with water and start to swirl it around. Drag it out of there. And we're right back to the first step, making that soup. There's the grinding. Everything's going good. Let's do it again. Work the soup towards the edge of the pan. Stop the shaking. Get real quiet. Dump the water out. Same angle the water left the pan. Back to the beach. Dip. Each dip, just a little water comes in. Picks up just the top layer. Carries it right back out. Bigger stone building up. Leave a little water in the pan. break that rock away from the rest of the concentrate,
Poured it.
using the market price of $325 an ounce. Oh,
I like rocks myself.
Me too.
Yeah, you can tell immediately. There's you know, people talk about fool's gold.
Yeah, maybe a little more bang. Tilt it down. There you go. It's kind of shaking so it starts falling off the edge. There you go. When you get lower and lower. Okay, I haven't seen Joe work like this in years. Ready for you? Oh, yeah. Everybody doing okay? Get all together.
Y'all got gold fever, what do you think?
Yeah.
Should we do the other one?
Success. Success.
Should we do the other one?
More than I did.
It's supposed to be more than one pan worth, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, how many you got here? Two?
We're a partnership.
All right, that's the way to go. Well, we weigh it by the grain. It's worth about $2 a grain. There's a little piece of So we'll clean it up, get all the dirt out of here.
Shine it up.
Yep. We want to weigh just the gold. Plus, if you want it made into jewelry, you don't want dirty jewelry. So it's kind of nice to get it nice and clean. If you have it made into jewelry, they'll clean it a little bit more over there too. And this is weighing in. Ooh, this is weighing in a lot. Boy, you guys are, this is right at 10.2 grains, $20.40 worth.
Rika's Roadhouse.
Yeah, I'd welcome you to the Big Delta State Historical Park.
On the button.
Kind of chilly. So they came up with this system of provision for travel. Now most of them were more like that little cabin. You know, one or two cabins smashed end to end. People slept on pie or whatever they could drag in, basically. But it was a good provision anyway. The only problem with this guy's plan was himself. Living here on the river, that's the Tanana River. lot, trading furs with the Indians who were up and down the river, and he had a couple of gold mines of his own stashed in the mountains back there. A lady by the name of Rika Waller to run the place for him. And she did. She ran it real well. She ran it for about 4 or 5 years without pay while Joan was out digging for gold in the mountains. Here on this property until she died in 1969 at the age of 93. And she was a rough old lady and a pioneering type. And so this was her homestead here. And so what we've done is we've gone through and restored all the buildings to original. You know, you see all these little...
Yeah, back in there, you smile. Well, I see wiggles back in there.
Yeah, there's a calf back there in the trees. Just a little bit behind her there. That's what she was looking like. She's stuck.
She doesn't want to.
She's sure hiding that baby.
I'll feed that goddamn cat.
We are in the town of Chicken, Alaska.
They're all over. You wouldn't think that they'd be up here so much in this cool mountain air, but I guess anywhere you got foliage like that.
Good morning.
Why did you tell us that we had interest?
Welcome to Dawson, 1898.
Klondike. Christy.
Klondike. Klondike.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Klonny for short.
Klonny. Oh, yeah.
Dredge number 44. The largest dredge of its type in all of North America.
Little bit of a size difference.
This line could go.
We can roll. Yeah.
Tons of feast, right? So they just pull on rheostat, boom, and then they're in the ground. Now they pulled on it, it was missing. It had broken up. There was a flaw in the construction of it somehow, and it was missing. Now, in order to, like, out of Bear Creek, it was the base camp for all dredging operations, and they also had enough parts out there to build another dredge from scratch if they needed to. But it's not, they don't have a 45-ton pivot point or a spud just kind of on hand there, so they had to send away to Marion, Ohio for it. At least 2 years. At least. I couldn't leave this dredge sitting here dormant.
You chose the wrong one.
Bingo. Absolutely. Yeah, big long process. No kidding, man.
How many men on duty when it was operating?
I will tell you that. No, excuse me. Yeses?
Brakes.
Brakes. Absolutely. Nice work. Good shot. They don't work anymore. Now, the mental image is going to stay with you a lot longer than just a group of numbers. We got the big boiler here behind us. Would heat up the dredge. Besides, there was a few other electrical heaters that were around the dredge, but that was basically the main source of heating for around here. Now, as we walk.
Googieville in Canada. Lots of campers.
Whoa, Bee, nice chest.
Okay.
Wait till you see this. Nice chest.
Do you have enough yet?
I'm zooming in.
That's enough.
This shows you the street when it has not been raining. Because of the permafrost. Virtually all houses are built on stilts. Because of the permafrost, here's an establishment that is actually sinking into the ground. There are no sidewalks on any of the streets in Dawson, only boardwalks.
Good little guy. Good little guy. Give her a good hard push there. There you go, King.
Good job. All right, let's give him a round of applause.
How fast is this stream? North there you have.
We didn't even make it out. It's happened every time I just kind of like crash the afternoon and I pass out.
Boats in all of Canada. She was built in 1928. She was commissioned originally by the Northwest Mounted Police for the purpose of supplying the Mounties outposts up and down the Yukon River. She went downriver as far as the Porcupine.